Disbanded is rated R. The Rocky Horror Picture Show is also rated R. We're going to spend this time discussing the movie in gory detail, and along the road we will talk about some adult content and use some of our favorite swear words.
Oh honey, I am so not threatened by you.
Consider yourselves warned. Welcome to Rocky Horror Minute, the podcast where we break down the Rocky Horror Picture Show in excruciating detail, 1 minute at a time. I'm one of your hosts, Leandra.
And I'm your other host, Kelly.
And today is a very special day. We're now on minute 80. But what happens in this minute, Kelly?
That's a great question, Leandra. We last left Janet in her floor show routine. She had just paused as though she was about to do something very sexy. And the sexy thing she does is sort of dip down and say, "The game has been disbanded." And then there's a beat and she takes 3 little steps forward, and then she does a very weird dip, sort of bent forward almost in an S shape, and she lifts her right hand up as she says, "My mind has been expanded." And then she stands upright, faces front, and spreads the boa wide, and then says, "It's a gas that Frankie's landed," moving her hips side to side in time. And then during landed, she covers first with her right hand, and then her left hand brings the boa down over her crotch, basically. And then we get a close-up of her face, and she says, "His lust is so sincere," before blowing a kiss kind of at the audience. And then she's standing there posing. She's on the stage right side next to Rocky. And then we hear the fanfare, which everybody should be familiar with because it's, I believe, the same exact fanfare from the beginning of the movie.
Yep. What?
Is it the 20th Century Fox fanfare?
No.
Really?
It's the RKO fanfare. The bum ba-da-dum 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 da-da-da-da da-dun-dun-dun.
Is that not the Fox fanfare?
Bum 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 ba-da-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Okay. I've been conflating the two in my mind the entire time. So it's different. It's the It's the RKO fan. Oh man.
It feels so good to laugh again.
Yeah. So the RKO fanfare, the curtain, there's like a curtain behind them that then lifts, and it reveals a set which has the RKO tower. It says an RKO radio picture. There's like some clouds, and standing center stage with his hands on his hips is Frank, but he's had a costume change once again. He's wearing a red corset that has red sequins and beads adorning it and like black lacing. It has the same attached red crinkly garters that are on the garter belts from the other floor show characters. He has a fur stole that, this is the matter of much debate, and it is definitely 4 very dark furs tied together end to end, faces and feet included. It's hard to see. I am of the opinion that this is at least one of them has to be a fox fur because it has a white tail tip. A lot of people think it's mink or marten, and there are very good arguments for that, but neither of those animals have a white tail tip, so that would have had to be like artificially added if they were all minks or martens, and I don't know. I don't know enough about furs to know if mixing animals would be a thing you would do, but I will say they are quite big, so that would also potentially lend itself to foxes. They're large furs, like, because it's pretty big and long. He later will spread his arms, and it's longer than his entire arm span. So, yeah. Thoughts?
With regards to the fur monstrosity around his neck, you can also see one of the snouts fairly well in a close-up during this minute. And it's very triangular, and the the tails themselves are very thick. While you were talking just now, I was kind of thinking, what if this is a Pepe Le Pew, like, the it's actually cats, but they got their tails dipped in paint. It couldn't possibly be. The tails are much too fluffy, but
Yeah,
it'd be fun.
they look, honestly, at times the fur looks quite a bit less fluffy than I'm typically used to seeing fox furs. I will say I've in person mostly seen fox pelts and have seen a mink coat but not a mink pelt. So I don't know. My grandfather's wife has a mink coat, if you're wondering. But like from way back in the day, that has not fit her for decades.
What poor unfortunate creature had to die for you to wear that coat?
No.
My Aunt Trudy? Just walked away, ladies and gentlemen.
Wrong movie. Shout out to John Fenn, who may or may not be listening. But anyway, long story short, the animal is unclear. I have a feeling they're probably foxes because I have a feeling that they're all the same animal, and I don't know why else they would have that. But I do see the argument, especially because they look quite darker than you will typically ever see a fox fur unless it's been dyed black. But again, it can't be dyed black because then it would not have a white tail tip unless they, for some reason, preserved that, which would also be weird. So there are some options. In some screens, it looks a bit silvery, which if these are indeed natural fox pelts, they would be either silvers or blues, which can look quite dark. But yeah, and they were in style to a degree in the 70s, so that would fit. But anyway, it could be a trick of the light. It could be none of them. It could be fucking anything almost. She may have attached a fucking like one of those fake keychain things to the end for all I know. Sue's to blame here. But anyway, that's my opinions on the furs. If any fur experts or people who know a lot would like to write in and correct me, you can leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or actually email me because I actually am very interested in this and a lot of people in the community actually are. It's a subject of much debate. In person, Shadowcasters, obviously, it would be quite a feat to get a true screen accurate vintage thing anyway, so I've seen people have like a fox fur, or most people of course have faux or even something sillier.
I mean, mine's screen accurate, so I don't know why you're looking at me.
Yeah. Leandra uses dog toys, which I actually think is quite good. That's my plan at some point also.
Yeah, I've sewn a bunch of dog toys together, and in the next minute when Frank sings Can't You Just See It, I squeak the squeaks in time, and it makes the audience just crack up.
Yeah. And they are tied together, so it's pretty easy to do.
I sewed mine. They're not tied.
I'm saying Frank's are tied together,
yeah.
So you don't have to sew them at all. And in fact, it's pretty easy to do crazy things because they're just tied up. Anyway, that is the fur. He's wearing a gold sequined gauntlet on his right arm that has a black feather trim on the elbow side. And then on the left arm, he's got a black fishnet sleeve, just like the rest of the characters who performed in the floor show. And then he's got open-toe, black Dorsey satin platform sandals, pretty much the same shoes he wore earlier in the movie, but these have red rhinestones. And he's got a little silver tiara-type crown with a bunch of black feathers sticking up off of it. And he's had a makeup change that dramatic bitch him. So it's pretty similar to his earlier makeup, but he's got a teal blue eyeshadow on his eyelid and a much glossier and redder lip. It almost looks glittery in the light. Probably has a shimmer. So, then he says his first lyrics to the song as we get a close-up of his face. Whatever happened to Fay Ray, that delicate. And that's the end of the minute.
What a minute.
What a minute.
So, we did finish the song, though. So, what do you think of the song?
Oh, yeah. That's a good question. I never usually think of Rose Tints My World on its own. On its own, it's not like that awesome when you bring, because usually you think of it combined with an upcoming song,
Yeah.
or the song that is kind of continuing in a way. I guess like a 3. It at times has really fun or interesting lyrics, and at times has nonsense happening, in my opinion. But it's kind of like catchy and fun. It's also hard to divorce it from the floor show scene, which is a true delight, and a highlight of the movie for sure. So I'm gonna give it a 3.
Out of 8?
Yeah, 3 out of 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So out of 5, because I feel like that's a more reasonable thing.
Okay, fine. We'll start doing it out of 5.
Just for once.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of it in terms of this is one of the few songs where everybody gets to tell a little bit of their emotional story and where they are mentally within the story. And I like it for that. I enjoy the dancing in it, but musically it is kind of weak. I think a 3.5 is probably reasonable.
It's like an 11 o'clock number.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, not really a showstopper or anything, but it's such a classic scene. Really some of my favorite moments, brief moments for characters happen there. So what else can I do?
So a couple of things that I've noticed kind of going on in the background in this scene after the song is over. I love that you can still see the jukebox in the back of the room, because this is the same room that they did the Time War.
Yeah.
And you can see the Mona Lisa and the mirrored Mona Lisa on the walls. So, like, all they're doing is they've turned it around to where Frank initially had that throne. So, it's just a transformative space.
Yeah, I wonder why they didn't just move at least the things on the walls, you know?
Maybe because they were just like, no, let's lean into it. It's the ballroom. We've set it up differently. Now,
this is so much more thought than
the question that I have,
yeah, okay.
The real question,
okay.
Why beach chairs? Like, I know we talked about the fact that there are beach chairs, but why?
Again, this amount of thought was not put into it, I feel. I mean, yeah, it's a good question. My guess, it was probably, like, at a thrift store nearby or something.
But, like...
Or something they just already had from a previous movie.
The castle, which is it's a hotel now, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, shit!
Yeah, the castle's now a hotel.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't think it's near any large bodies of water, necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not ones with a beach. So...
If there were a beach, would it make you old?
Well, if those chairs are any sort of indicator of what sort of beach it is, yes, you would be transported back to Victorian times.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing for whatever reason they had them. I doubt they were like, we need beach chairs for this scene. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. I mean, it's reasonable to think that they wouldn't actively go, no, beach chairs is my vision. And if somebody did say that, I would love for anybody to have gone, that's a bad vision. You shouldn't think that. Lean away.
My only real note about the set here is from the commentary with Richard O'Brien. He said something that greatly confused myself and Leandra, because she was there when I was listening to it. He said when we see the RKO tower, he said he wanted it to be the 20th century Fox Tower, but Fox wouldn't allow that for whatever reason, which first of all I'm confused about, but second of all, the 20th Century Fox Tower, he must mean the just letters at the beginning. It's not really a tower, but
Right.
yeah.
Like, it's kind of a podium with a spotlight on top or next to.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure.
I would call it a tower, but the only other option is like the skyscraper where they have their headquarters, but that is not distinctive in any way. So it has to be that. Why
So,
do you think Fox said no? Because this is a Fox movie.
probably because it's weird. Or maybe they were like, we want to use the Fox Tower, but we don't want to use the Fox music. Like, we still want to use the RKO song with it. And Fox was like, that's weird and convoluted. Don't do this.
If they did that, it would make a lot of sense. I think we've established in previous minutes from the commentary that there was a lot of pushback within Fox because they changed management during this movie and he was trying to kill the movie, so that might have had something to do with it too. I am glad, for the record, that it was the RKO. I think that is much more. It makes a lot more sense for what they're going for, which is to pay homage to these old like sci-fi / early like monster movies that were RKO movies, like they're spoiler alert, there's going to be a overt King Kong reference later. That's RKO. It's specifically on the tower, so it would be quite strange, and also I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but would this change that scene? Because if indeed he meant the letters, the idea of them climbing up those letters is strange, to say the least.
I feel like there'd be more of like a rock climbing sort of vibe to it because there wouldn't be a ladder. So you'd have to have like a Rocky who could climb without a ladder with a dead transvestite.
And it would
draped about his neck.
Sort of kill the King Kong imagery, in my opinion. So if it wasn't a tall tower like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm assuming that is not in the stage show.
The climbing, no.
Yeah, the climbing and the king, like all that, I assume does not happen.
No.
So that was, I'm assuming, a choice made because of that set, and it's a great fun choice. But yeah, I don't think we would have that if it was the 20th Century Fox. Also, just I don't know, something about having those just like looming behind them in that scene. Maybe that's why they said no, because it wouldn't look good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think it would look good.
I think it would be an odd choice for sure.
This is maybe hypocritical because I do like the RKO thing, and that is also just a brand's logo, but I don't know.
But it feels very old Hollywood.
It does feel, that's the thing, it's old. If they did the old, like, Universal globe from the end of their movies, I would have been fine with that too.
Yeah, but Universal was a different...
No, I'm just saying, like, that's also a film logo, but I would have been okay with it, because, yeah.
I thought you were thinking that Universal was Fox. I'm like, no.
No,
they're two different things, Kelly.
No. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, Fox's current logo is still the one they use, and I don't know.
Yeah.
If they did the Paramount Mountain, I would have been fine with that too.
I think that it would have been cool to have the, not the Lady Liberty, what is her name? That is just the logo of the woman holding a torch.
TriStar? Leandra's Googling ladies.
Not just any ladies. Oh, it is Columbia Movies. It's
Columbia Pictures.
Yeah, Columbia Pictures.
Yeah.
That would be very pretty. And it would make Columbia the star of the show, which of course is why Frank would never.
Yeah, exactly.
Never. I want to talk more about Frank's costume because this is my favorite costume in the entire movie by a great deal. Like, I think that this is just the prettiest piece. So, going back a little bit, I wasn't aware of this, but Ruth from Ruth Sandal Retentive Rocky, says that she's actually seen the shoe, and the brand is Terry de Havilland.
Okay.
Which I thought was kind of neat. I love how incredibly ornate the corset itself is. It laces in the front, which I know all of the floor show corsets do, but it's only laced like 2/3 to 3/4 of the way. And it is just dripping with these strands of bugle beads, mostly red strands, but a couple of black. And it feels very like a showgirl sort of costume, or like some sort of like very old Hollywood, or even like a Las Vegas sort of review thing. I could see it in like Ziegfeld's Follies even. It's gorgeous. It's got a lot of drama to it. And yeah, there's even really random little nuances to the corset itself that I think are very cool. Like there's the ruffles at the top front, not in the back, but kind of over the cups. But on the bottom, there's like a super fine ruffle, and then a black piece of lace, and then another kind of super fine ruffle. So it's just a detail that I'm happy that Sue Blaine decided to make an incredibly ornate piece that we could describe in a podcast 50 years later.
It's a great corset.
It really is. I really love just how many feathers are sticking out of that tiara. It really does bring to mind like the showgirl sort of thing that I was talking about. Like this entire thing is like Frankenfurter's version of that. It's not quite the huge headdress, but you can tell that that's what it's giving that. I love it. Even the pearls, they're swapped out for ones that are like they've got a bit of a silvery sheen to them, which, why? Why would you do that? Other than you can. Then the one set piece that we haven't talked about is just a random lever on the ground that looks like a dick. Mm-hmm. It's like very bulbous. Every single thing that could be pulled in this castle looks like a penis, which I think is great.
Yeah. I wonder to what level that was intentional and to what level things are just phallic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It feels very chicken or egg. So
you think perhaps penises evolved to look like the things in the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I think that it was either phallic because of Rocky or Rocky because it's phallic.
Now, I really like this as a like ancient aliens theory, like the Rocky.
Racist.
No, this is different. I have no affiliation with Eric von Daniken's Nazi ass. I'm just saying that perhaps the Transylvanians went back in time and created penises in the image of their equipment.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
It seems likely that was the vision for the movie.
Well, if you think of it in terms of these are aliens, we have no idea what their genitals look like, really.
Yeah. I mean, unless they created our genitals to look like theirs. Not to bring this back to Animorphs, but...
Roll back the clock. This time it's the Animorphs clock.
Animorphs spoilers. If you don't want to be spoiled on something that happens in, I want to say like book 9 of the Animorphs series, skip. But there's this android race called the Che. Look it up. That's the correct pronunciation if anyone's going to correct me. There's this android race called the Che that were created by a super advanced, loving, adorable race that happened to look a lot like Earth dogs. And at the end of the book, it's revealed that, in fact, because they got wiped out as soon as a hostile species came close to them because they had no hateful bones in their bodies, so they just let themselves get slaughtered. But they were incredibly, ridiculously technologically advanced, so they had made these, like, perfect androids, and the androids survived. They have Asimov's rules, like, baked into them, so they can't hurt anything, so they couldn't help their masters. However,
Aww.
they eventually went to Earth, which had been contacted long, long ago, and they showed up at Earth around, you know, the time that humans were starting to get agriculture and things, and they chose wolves and put the essence of their former masters into them and created earth dogs in the image.
Goodest boys?
Yeah, they created earth dogs in the image of their former masters because they're, you know, they were like, this is the soul of them, and then we're like the brain. So anyway, yeah, that's a true chicken egg type situation, and that's what the Transylvanians did with the penises. End of Animorph spoilers.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love this.
Yeah.
Those were all of my notes. Did you have any other notes?
About Animorphs or the
About
Rocky
this
Horror?
movie.
Oh, okay.
This movie, this
Because
minute.
I actually have several notes on my phone if you want to talk more Animorph stuff. But
Not when I've got a train to catch. And that is not a euphemism this time.
No, I do not.
Then let's go on to callbacks. How many callbacks do you have?
Of ones that I feel like saying, one.
Oh, do tell.
It's not even that much of a callback, but I love it. After the fanfare, there is a pause for dramatic effect, so it's like also, I didn't mention this earlier, but you hear like Morse code beeping with it too, which is a really fun little detail. Is that in the normal fanfare from the movies? Okay. There's a pause after that, and during that pause you can go, "What's up?" really loudly in what is usually a dead quiet theater. It's always funny to me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's all I'm doing.
So I've got more than that. I'm not saying that I love all of these, but, you know, some of them are ones.
Yeah, take my scraps.
Yeah. So the game has been disbanded. You can say, shit, I lost the game. Which is awful.
Oh, because I am 33. That's really funny to me.
Yeah.
I love hearkening back to a dead meme.
Yeah. And then my mind has been expanded. You can say my ass has been expanded. Thing that Kelly knows best.
Yep.
And then Kelly's least favorite callback is during It's a Gas That Frankie's Landed, when Janet is moving her arms, kind of moving the boa toward her nether regions. You go, what's that smell? Cover it up.
Yeah.
But I prefer when she does that to say X marks the twat.
Hey, see, that's so much funnier.
Yeah. And then right before Janet smooches toward the fourth wall, you say kiss my ass. And your options after that are and show me yours or next time use tongue. And then we've got a couple of really fun ones based off of the RKO radio picture or backdrop. It's for those of you who have hated this movie, it has been an RKO radio picture. And then somebody says, what's a radio picture? And you say, it's TV for the blind. And then somebody says, what's an RKO? You say, it's a really kinky orgy. And then somebody says, what's an an? And you say, it's an anus without us, and that's the worst kind. Or a half-eaten anus.
I haven't heard these. These are good.
It is my favorite, but it's one that you need to have somebody set you up. You can't just go, what's an RKO? It's a really kinky orgy. Like, you can do that, but then you'd be that guy.
Yeah, no. One thing I really need to drive home, if you have multi-part callbacks, like call and response ones, and you don't have someone to do them with you, you need to let it go. Do not try and do them all yourself. You look stupid.
It's just, it's not the best use of your time. Of course, going to a Rocky showing probably isn't the best use of your time either.
Yeah.
Unless you're the type of person who goes to a Rocky Horror show, then maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
What the hell else are you doing? Unemployed, divorcee, broke, fat.
Degloved toe.
Yeah, Leandra injured me.
I tried to misery her.
Yeah, she did. Which is weird because she's at my house right now. So
I was like, no, don't take me.
Yeah.
I will crush your foot instead. On purpose.
yeah. Yeah.
I didn't do it on purpose. Let the
Yeah.
record show. I felt awful.
She says this, and yet
I genuinely felt like a garbage person because I am. I accidentally scooted a chair onto her foot. And it hurt her real bad.
it pulled all the skin off of that toe, which is fine.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Okay. I have a couple more callbacks.
I thought these were all part of it, but okay.
So, whatever happened to
Saturday night. Oh, that is a good one.
Or to the plot. And then you go, if somebody says to Saturday night like that, you go, no, we're not going back. It's too fucking late. And then to Fay Ray, you go, she got fucked by a 40-foot ape with a 2-inch dick and died of disappointment.
Oh, yeah. I actually do like that one.
Or, I'm pretty sure she's just dead.
That's
or
also funny.
she went ape shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the callbacks that I particularly know. Some of them I actually like, but some of them I just know.
Yeah, the ape one, that's a classic.
Yeah. One night, I said she got fucked by an elephant because I was very tired, and that doesn't make sense. I'm not sure if you're aware of why that doesn't make sense, but Fay Ray was in a film about King Kong. The film was called King Kong. There are no elephants in King Kong, and Fay Ray played the love interest to an ape named King Kong. Not an elephant. So, unless Fay Ray did some freaky shit on her downtime that I just somehow tapped into, my callback of she got fucked by an elephant, it don't make no sense, Kelly.
But that's what's funny about it. Now, I will say, while there are no elephants in King Kong, and I remember there's a lot more dinosaurs than I expected.
Yes.
If you haven't seen King Kong, you probably aren't expecting the first 30 or 40 minutes of the movie to just be dinosaur fights, but it is.
It's a good movie.
It's fun, yeah.
For that reason. But that's all I've got.
It's over.
Alright, so now you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here, so get the fuck out!